And we are live.
Hello, hello. Welcome to the Goggler podcast. Iain, Bahir, and Uma with you, coming to you this Malaysia Day. So happy Malaysia Day, people.
Happy Malaysia Day.
It was 58 years ago today that Malaya, along with Sabah, Sarawak, and Singapore, joined forces to become Voltron. And then Singapore fucked off a few years later, leaving us with no opportunity to become a giant robot ever again.
Okay, so what was Singapore? Was it the head? Was it the arm?
Let's not get down that road. Let's just move past it and move on.
This is the story of our nation for all of those living abroad.
Yeah. It's like what was that movie where they had the jigsaw? So they put the jigsaw together and then they decided to just take one piece, cut the edges off, and fuck it into the sea.
Yeah, exactly.
What is that?
I know there was
That's by his nightmare.
There's some movie where someone was
worst.
someone was doing a jigsaw and they were just cutting the edges off that didn't fit.
I have been tempted to do that so many times.
It's like what they did to the guy in Kim's Convenience. And
Okay,
stole the last piece of the jigsaw.
The guy in Kim's Convenience, that clears all that up completely. Yeah, the guy in
I can't
Kim's
remember his
Convenience.
name. The guy with the short shorts who works at the car rental place. Oh, anyway.
Not Terrence.
Terrence.
Yeah,
I was thinking of the other
right.
guy. I think what's the other guy's
Yeah.
name now?
And they fucked him over with the jigsaw. That was like I was having cold sweats just watching it. It's like it's like missing a piece of the Lego, man. It's like you built all this shit and one piece is missing.
Every time I open IKEA, I'm like, please
God.
let there be enough. If there's one extra, that's fine. I can deal with the stress of knowing that maybe something's not bolted together as well as I thought. But missing pieces is like, oh no.
Yeah,
No.
that's always a problem. Yeah.
Because if you've ever had to deal with customer service at IKEA,
I'm okay.
I've never had to deal with customer service at IKEA because their pre-customer service is so good. Not an ad. Not an ad, but I am thinking about them because we did order cheesecake delivered today from IKEA.
Hold up. Sorry, before we go on to movie reviews and TV reviews, are you telling me that IKEA delivers their food now?
You can get bunkusset.
That is genius.
So we got I think it's the raspberry cheesecake, and which handily comes pre-sliced, which is
and
insane.
the chocolate hazelnut one. Oh, that's good.
No, we got we didn't get the chocolate hazel. We got the Danish pastries or whatever that look like that we pop in the oven. So
Ooh, nice. Yeah. Anyway, we got a packed show for you today. We're going to be talking about a whole bunch of things. We're going to be talking about In the Heights. We're going to be talking about Into the Night, Squid Game, which is the new K-drama on Netflix, as well as Why the Last Man, which may or may not be coming to Disney Plus Hotstar, and we'll get into that, mind you. But first, Iain, you've been suffering through a video game.
yeah, this has been as well as today. Today it's a day off, and I spent the day off catching up on, what we're going to talk about later. So stressed out from one show, and I just finishing another show that's pure stress. And in between that, I thought I'd take a break and finish off Psychonauts, which gave me nothing but fucking stress. So I'm taking a half day tomorrow. Screw everything.
Wait. So explain. I've never played Psychonauts.
I don't know anything about this. Yeah.
So I played this game back in the day on my original Xbox, and I had to stop, I think, because the right stick stopped working. And it's one of those games where it's a platformer where the camera will lock to an enemy and you have to run around the screen. So not being able to run left or right would have been a bit of a fucking problem. So I stopped.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. Yeah.
But it's the same guys who did like Full Throttle, and Tim Schafer's involved in it. It was like Full Throttle, and he did Maniac Mansion and stuff like that. So
Right.
there's a second one coming out, and I thought if I want to play the second one, I want to be a bit of a completionist. As I said before, I'm still playing The Witcher 2 before I played The Witcher 3. So I thought I'd just go back and get through this. And I thought it wouldn't be too bad. It's a game where you're at a psychic summer camp and you pop into people's brains to solve issues, and while you're there, you get different power-ups. So you have like levitation.
Oh, that sounds cool.
You can throw boxes at people. You can set things on fire with your mind. And because it's a Tim Schafer and Double Fine joint, they play up that level of humor of it. And I was a bit worried at first because there's things you have to get currency to get some things that you need for later in the game. I was like, I'm only getting one or two of these currencies around the place, but then in certain maps it's like, here's 100. I'm like, oh, thank God. This isn't going to be so bad.
Right.
Then I got to the meat circus. So
That sounds great.
part of the story is Raz wants to be a psychonaut. Parents don't want him to be. He goes away to the summer camp and he wants to go through all these You have to go through all these mental exercises to get to become a psychonaut. But someone starts stealing the brains of the other kids. And when by stealing them, it means they're literally holding the brains and putting them in tanks.
Okay.
But the kids are still walking around just going, TV, when their brains are out. Because that's all they... TV rots your brains,
That's
kids.
all we do.
Yeah. And like, there's some really inventive stuff in it. There's one level where you're inside the head of a paranoid delusional. So like the map actually, I was stuck for ages because I didn't realize like the map is like in front of you like this, but it ramps up like there's another part. The map loops around like it's not blocks on top of each other. The map actually wraps around, and while you might think from playing video games, especially ones from 2005, that's just like the background.
Yeah.
You actually can jump from platform to platform. Gravity will switch in between, and you'll just like land correctly. So it completes the message in your head. There's a point where you basically get to be a kaiju. You're huge inside a city, stomping around the place.
Nice.
With amazingly voiced little lungfish monsters shouting at you, calling you, "Oh, Gargalore, please go over here and destroy this." And like it's a real Godzilla, 1960s style Godzilla stuff. And there's another one where you're jumping from you jump into a board game, and you can jump into a different level of that board game where you're at a level where you can move the characters around, and then you're at a level where you're the same size as the characters, and it's pretty seamless. And all of this is incredibly inventive and really, really fun, and got me really hyped for the second one. And then your brain gets mixed with another guy's brain. You're from the circus. He's got a problem with meat. You go to the meat circus, and they do every sin in the fucking video game play. The music is the kind of music people play when they're trying to take the piss out of Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
But when you think back to the capacity of 2006, the storage capacity of the discs back then, the loop is even, there's no chorus.
Yeah.
You're getting that music. You're getting a little kid running around the place who's saying like, "Come here, bunny." You've got to hold the bunny for him to get it. Then he'll go up to the next level. You've got to get to him while he's being attacked. So you have to complete complex platforming operations while escorting somebody who's ahead of you, and you have to try and figure this out on the fly. The music is umping away. Ever so often, a ghostly specter appears like this and goes Rasputin, and it's way too fucking often. And even when you get past that, you get like a grind area, like a railing. You're grinding down a railing. Grinding down a railing, and you have to jump at certain spots. People are throwing shit at you, and there's a spot where you have to jump, I think. You have to build up a speed like a Tony Hawk level, right? But you have to jump and hit 3 jumps. And when you're going uphill, you have to push forward to build momentum. And so it's like you make the first jump, you fall off the second one. You make the first jump, the second jump, there's the third jump. You make the third jump, there might be another one beyond that. And it's just like when you turn the Xbox off, you have to start from the beginning of the little kid section. You don't have to handle a little kid anymore, but you still have to climb up this fucking thing with Rasputin every 30 seconds. And then they put you in a level where the water is constantly rising from the floor. There's a cylinder. There's basically, if you imagine a cylinder, but you've cut slices out of it, right?
Right.
Okay.
And the camera is focused on the center of that cylinder character in there. You have to basically jump out of the screen, hit your levitation thing, so you drop a little balloon, slide around to the next segment, and then climb up.
Yeah, I can't. Just listening to you.
That game sounded super interesting, and now I never want to play it.
And I was having so much fun. I was so looking forward to the second one. And now I'm like, maybe I should play all of The Witcher 2, all of The Witcher 3, all of The Witcher 1, read all the books, and then maybe think about playing Psychonauts 2.
Wait. So Psychonauts 2 is not out yet? Or it just came out?
It came out a little while ago. And I thought,
Right,
stupidly, as part of a company where we're constantly getting stuff to review and watch and everything, I thought I should probably stream Psychonauts. I probably should have streamed Psychonauts because people love watching people on pain on the internet.
Of course. Especially failing at video games.
Yeah, but I was too, it would have been a really bad stream because it's just me grinding my teeth. The only way I managed, with all that said, I did manage to get past it, but it was only by turning the sound off on the television. And also, I had to go take a shower, and I came back, and it was one of those things where I said, all right, one more fucking go before fucking bedtime, and then I'll fucking delete that off the fucking hard drive. And I did it, and I was like...
And nobody saw you do it.
Nobody saw me do it. I didn't have any champagne in the house. I was just like, my girlfriend did not
You're
give...
screaming to the girlfriend going, come here and watch this. I know you don't care, but come here and watch me do this.
Yeah, she'll come in and say, is this Halo? And I'll be just like, don't...
Actually, speaking of good video games, I downloaded Aliens Fireteam Elite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
For what?
Which is
For
I'm
which?
not a fan. PS4.
Okay.
So I'm not a big third-person shooter guy, but I am a big Aliens guy.
Yeah.
And I have to say, this thing is the most Aliens thing,
Yeah.
Oh.
like more than any of the new films or any film since Aliens.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've heard
Like
that.
it's properly good.
Yeah. I mean, did you ever play Alien Isolation?
No, I didn't play that one.
Okay, because I
Yeah.
mean, the Fire Team is I think you can play up to 4 people, and you basically just go mowing down aliens. Although there are video game concessions. There are short walls, and like you don't need cover from aliens. Cover does you no good when it comes to aliens.
Correct.
But
And
there are
also
things that open it up.
There's lore as well, which kind of fits into.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh, actually, every single Alien movie has been completely different from the last
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So it is so out there that it really is one of those franchises where every creator has gone, I'm going to put my own stamp on this one.
But when it comes to video games, when it comes
Yeah.
to video games, they've like lifted wholesale from those movies. Like I think there's an article on Vice or Polygon about how Aliens, James Cameron's Aliens in particular, and also Ridley Scott's. Ridley Scott's influenced a whole load of horror games, like all the jump
Right.
scares from that and the design of the ships and things, and the pulse rifle, all that kind of stuff. That you're into this game. If you want to play more, Alien Isolation is alien to Fireteam's Aliens. Like this one,
nice.
This one is you're fighting wave after wave of enemy, and you're getting
Correct.
your money's worth out of it. Because I thought I might play with some friends when it's a budget title, because I had heard it's like a bit repetitive.
It is a bit repetitive, but you can online play with randos.
Okay, how's that? Have you played with randos?
I played with some randos.
How'd that
when
go?
I first downloaded it. That was all right. It was fun just running around shooting things, man. It's great.
And can you point at things without saying anything? Like, do you have a ping button or something? Like, I'm gonna put something up here, or let's go this way, kind of stuff.
Actually, I don't know if you have a ping button.
Yeah,
Uma wasn't too concerned about.
I wasn't too
talking
concerned
to
about
randos.
yeah, but it's but
Shoot the fucking
Yeah.
aliens, bro.
because the Apex Legends added that, and where it's like you don't have to talk to the randos. You never have to talk to the randos. You just click over here and it says, "There's a gun here. There's a good gun here," or "Let's go this way." It does that in game. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to listen to somebody listening to Sade and the repeat in the background, or babies crying, or kids shouting at each other and things like that.
Right.
But if you love this, don't play Colonial Marines. Don't go back and think you want to try old games, because Colonial Marines is the one where it doesn't look anything like how it demoed, and the aliens kind of like there's a geriatric alien walking around the place at one point. Like
What the fuck?
it strolls across. The AI was apparently shitty, so they didn't have enough time to finish it. But Alien Isolation is Ridley Scott's Alien to this Jim Cameron Alien, where
Nice. Okay.
there is
So
only
wait,
one.
Is it also a shooter or
No,
not?
the other one is it's all like you can actually start on a ship like the Nostromo. So not the Nostromo, yeah,
So
the
it's like a
Nostromo.
horror game.
It's a horror game, but they took what's his name, Roy
Nice.
Cobb's designs. Like you can actually walk around the ship from the original Alien, and it looks perfect. But you're chased by one alien, and that I couldn't play it anymore because it kept popping out of vents beside my head. You can hide in like closets and things, and you can see it stomping around outside. It's terrifying.
Oh, nice. Okay, I'll check it out.
So try that for Halloween. But yeah, I'm going to get it on sale and see if I can link up with people to play it.
Cool. Yeah.
I've been playing City Skylines. Just completely just of a different gear from what you guys are doing.
Yeah, but I mean, isn't that like your Facebook status? Bahir is playing City Skylines. It's been that way for like 5 years now, right?
Because I just keep playing that game. I love that game.
Is it the same one?
Yeah. I've
Oh.
only got one. But, big sort of community, mods and
Nice.
upgrades and stuff. So it's been fun. I really, really like City Skyline.
How's your
No
city?
stress.
How's your city of the future?
It's okay. I
I need to shout about. I'm the mayor, but I don't love it.
I'm running Mac Mini, so I can't get past 70,000 people before it starts to slowly pop out.
Just like a real city.
That's not a real city. But it's been fun.
Nice.
Not as exciting as you guys do, but sure.
not as aggravating either, though.
Not as aggravating at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of new trailers to watch this week, and I think there was one in particular that we were really looking forward to, which was the Hawkeye trailer. And we have a date as well, November 22nd, so just in time for Christmas. And it looks like a Christmas show a la Shane Black.
Yeah.
It looks so Shane Black, right?
Well,
Even the
yes.
humor from
Yeah.
the trailer, yeah. But yeah, so it's centered around Hawkeye finally gets his due. He gets his own show. No more making fun of the guy with no superpowers.
hang on. Finally gets his due. I mean, I don't think he was owed anything. He got a pretty good run in the movies. He's a guy with a goddamn bow.
I mean, I know, come on, but people always shit on the Hawkeye, and I feel bad because I really like him from the comics.
Oh yeah, I like him from the comics too. But when you see Jeremy Renner, it's like he's got a bow and he's standing beside the God of Thunder.
It feels like there needs to be a Jeremy Renner meme, like the Affleck sad face, right?
I think there is. I
That
mean,
seems
wasn't
to
there
be him in every film?
wasn't there a Renner app thing a couple of years ago?
Really?
Wait, am I the only
this
one?
one.
Okay, you keep
So
talking.
like Renner, Keanu on the bench, sorry, and Affleck at that press con for BVS. That'll be a thing. No,
Yeah,
so I mean,
Jeremy
I don't
Renner
know.
had an app, but trolls forced him to shut it down.
Wow.
Jeremy,
What does the app do?
I don't.
did
It
the
was
app-
Did
it was exclusive content, exciting giveaways with cool prizes. Get to know Jeremy and other fans.
Oh, this is for his
Well,
album. This was for
Yeah,
his
because
music, wasn't it?
he
Yeah.
does music, right?
Yeah. I remember reading this. Yeah, it was for his music. Yeah.
But the Hawkeye show does look pretty interesting. So yeah, centers on Renner. It's post Endgame. It opens with him having dinner with the family. Obviously, everyone came back after the blip, and there is a.
Sorry, just quickly jumping in. That dinner scene, was the wife there?
I couldn't see the camera. I was looking out
Yeah.
to see if
Yeah,
the wife was there too.
What's her
It
name?
looked like.
Was she busy making the series with Christine Applegate?
With Netflix, yeah.
That's her, right?
yeah,
Isn't it?
It's
Yes,
the
yeah.
lady, yes.
Yeah. It looked like it was just the kids.
And and there is someone who is impersonating Ronin, which is who he was in Endgame after he lost his family, and it turns out to be Haley Steinfeld, who's playing Kate Bishop. It seems like it's heavily influenced from the Matt Fraction TV series because the Matt Fraction comic book
Comic
series.
book, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was, you guys have read that, right?
Yeah.
I haven't. No.
Because they stole the logo and there's a Pete dog in it and it's in New York.
Correct. As in New York, the only thing we didn't see is lots of mob people going bro, over and over again, which I really hope they keep because it was very funny. But that series was cool because it kind of brought Hawkeye down to like a Spider-Man street level because the whole thing is based around this apartment building he's living in and he's trying to help people out and then escalates into
Well, he owns the
stuff to do
apartment,
with
right?
the mafia.
Doesn't he?
I
Is it
need
an
to
investment?
read it again
I think,
because I can't remember if he owns it or Stark owns it. I can't remember.
Plus, he didn't have that. That was my concern. Was he didn't have a family in that that continuity? But I think it was a building he invested in, and then there was problems, and so he got involved that way. Because Kate Bishop had already been around; they just hadn't done her that coolly, right?
She was in Young Avengers.
Before this,
In the comics, yes. And
so
then
did she
kind of,
come from this Hawkeye series, or was she just around as like a version of her? But the version we know now in the MCU is based from the one from Fraction series. But was she around before
Correct.
that?
Yeah, she was around before that in Young Avengers.
Oh, okay.
And then she kind of like harangues Hawkeye to become her mentor.
Yeah, and I was really happy though that they don't seem to be killing the family. He wants to be home by Christmas. It's a bit odd that I guess he was doing some work in New York before he went to Tokyo or whatever the hell it was he was in the Endgame movie, because he definitely wasn't in New York when they said a mass vigilante was plaguing the criminals of this city or has returned.
Right. Yeah. The only thing I can think of is maybe life wasn't as sweet after the blip, so he's having family issues, which is why
Maybe.
the wife wasn't at the dinner table. I don't know if they're going to do that to the character because he was the only one in the MCU with like a functioning family unit.
Yeah.
And that was kind of, and wasn't that, I think they were talking, was it an interview with the Russos where he was talking about that was the point? That's why they went to the farm and so that
that's why we didn't took them to the farm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we could see that he's got this other side of him, which is essentially just a normal guy with a family. You know,
I mean, he's the only. I mean, again, when he's when he's the guy with the bows next to Thor, he is the normal guy with a bow next to Thor. You know, he's hashtag relatable if you wanted to go that way.
Yeah,
exactly. Even Natasha is super because the Russians kind of beat all the humanity out of her, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Coolest thing about the trailer, Rogers the musical.
Yeah. I love that they went to see it. Like, that's great. And it's just like, of
Yeah.
course they would do this in the universe, right?
Right. So there's I guess it looks, I mean, the way the poster is designed makes it look like Hamilton, but I
Yeah.
guess it's a tribute to Steve Rogers and Captain America. And I've
know,
seen
I don't see it. I see it very much like the Hamilton musical, right? Like the Hamilton musical was in tribute to Alexander Hamilton. This is the Rogers musical in tribute to.
But do they?
It's fine. I love it.
In
I love
universe,
it.
do you think they get to use the Star Spangled Man song in universe because that's owned by the people who did the USO shows, and it might be a separate thing?
That's true. I was thinking
you
about
know-
track listings
Yeah.
for the Rogers musical. It's
I-
like America's Ass is definitely one of the songs in Act 2.
I
right?
think I saw that. Somebody
I-
did the track listing on Twitter. I saw as well.
I don't
yeah.
know. I mean, America's ass was something that he said though, right? And he said it with nobody around, and it's just
You
like
know, Stark would have told that he would have said that in multiple interviews to GQ or something,
Yes.
right? You can just imagine him
Yes,
saying that,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
and then supercalifragilistic soldier.
Ooh. That's
Okay,
a
I'm
reach, bro.
yeah, I'm
but-
stopping the stream. That's bad.
Yeah.
That's
Are
awful.
we done? Are we calling it a night? It's
It's got. I could do this all day. That's got to be one of them, right?
That's got to be one of them.
Yeah.
The last track on the album has to just be Endgame.
Or is it no? Just is it not? Because Endgame was the name of the movie. Is it not just? I don't think I will. Because that's
That
what he said to
works as
Bookie,
well.
right? What happened? You're
That's
gonna tell us what
works as
happened,
well.
Cap? I don't think I will.
I don't think I will.
I don't think I will.
Yeah, no, I'm really hoping they show bits of it. I'm pretty sure. I mean, knowing the MCU, they've probably shot the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be like a Blu-ray extra feature.
Or it's just going to appear in like the background of all the series from here on out, and you can eventually piece them together to have your own musical. That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That is
like,
something I would pay for on Premiere Access.
And if you think about it, like, Lin-Manuel's on call with Disney. He could whip something together, I'm sure. you
Yeah.
know? Fairly easy. Cool. Yeah.
Is he though? Did he did
wanna
Vivo
watch
with Sony, right? Was it or somebody? Vivo was.
Vivo was it Sony, but he still got. He's doing this Little Mermaid
Okay.
And also, is it
and
his-
Encanto.
Oh, Tick Tick Boom is
He-
with Netflix.
Tick Tick
Encanto,
Boom is with
yeah.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's still very much a Disney guy. So yeah.
Yeah. He's involved.
No,
He can. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. It looks fun. It looks like there's a lot of humor in it. And I hope they take a cue from the comics because the comics were really good and really funny as well.
Yeah. And leading
again-
into that and leading into the Shane Black thing, he just wants. Like, I mean, if they have, they're doing Bruce Willis to Die Hard. They had the Shane Black thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
He wants to just like, oh, come on.
Leave me the fuck
This one,
alone.
Yeah.
He's done. Yeah.
And
yeah.
have you noticed the clips? Like, they seem to just get progressively more beat up. Like, Haley Stanfield's got cuts all over her face at different points.
Yes.
He's icing
Yeah.
himself up. Like, that's great. Although when you say Bahir, when you say that we're bringing him to the street level hero like Spider-Man in the MCU is no longer a street level hero. He's got an armor suit and everything else. This feels a bit
He's
more
been
like
to outer space.
yeah.
so-
This feels like more of the Daredevil and Luke Cage street level
Yeah.
stuff, which I think could be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see if we'll learn something from this. If how much of this will lead on to Phase 4, right? Because is he retired? Is he done? Is he literally handing the bow over to Haley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop? Because this is a mini-series, right? There's no
Yep.
season 2. So
But Loki season 2 wasn't announced in the middle of that, and we thought that was going to be just to set up
Oh,
this
that's
Phase 4, right? So
yeah.
they could do that, but they can also, some of these are getting into their, they're not those who are not killing off are going to get a retirement pension, contract where I don't have to be in 8 movies all the time because then I can't
Yeah.
do other stuff, but I can turn up and be in the background and be like, okay, there's one scene where it's in the danger room or whatever it is at the Avengers campus, and he's
Yeah.
like, you need to hit your target better. It's like, oh, okay, Hawkeye, and then you just walk out of the room. You know what I mean? You can shoot a couple of
but
those in a
like-
week.
Yeah, but with Falcon, Captain America, and the Winter Soldier, that you can see those characters moving on. Obviously, because the Falcon's the new Captain America, so
Yeah.
he's going to be a part of Phase 4. I'm wondering if this one will sort of show us what the story is for Hawkeye moving forward. It'd be interesting. I'm looking forward.
I think they will try. They will probably try their best to wrap up these stories with the original actors, right? Like they did with
Yeah.
Steve Rogers and Tony Stark and all of that stuff. Because I'm sure some of the actors do want to move on. Maybe not Renner. He's not been very lucky with landing his own franchise. This
That's
may
true.
be the way in. This may be the way in.
Yeah.
But and I think it's a great way to hand over the torch because I think if you look at I'm still of two minds as to how I feel about Marvel not letting go of this infinite arc that they're building, like this infinite narrative arc. And I think I was talking about it even in the What If review, just the idea of like, at which point does it become just impossible to access, right? So I think it'll be a good thing to kind of like wrap this up, hand it over. You still have the Hawkeye brand. You've got someone very likable like Haley Steinfeld taking over. It's Kate Bishop. The character is super cool in the comics as well. So she's got her own fan base. And like comic book readers really like Kate Bishop. Right. So it's not. I think it feels like a natural progression, and I think that's kind of cool. Yeah.
Ironheart's in Wakanda Forever, right?
That was announced. Yeah, I think she's got a small part in Wakanda Forever. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So they're building up the cast. They'll drop in and out of things, and they'll build up. They'll want to have a Transformers the movie at some point where they retire all the G1 heroes and everybody's a hot rod, right? Like Shang-Chi is hot rod, basically, right?
Pretty much. Yeah.
So they'll build them up for something again. Cool. So again, we don't know this because we haven't seen Shang-Chi because it's not out here yet, but it is coming out here.
My friend. Soon.
There was two other small details I really liked in this. One is I think they fight LARPers.
Oh, really?
There's a scene where she's smiling and there's a group of people around her that seem to be dressed in like barbarians and stuff, and then he's kind of fighting them, but it looks like a musical sequence. So I'm not sure whether like they have a fantasy fight with LARPers, like, or he actually has a real fight with LARPers. But either way, it looks cool. And also the arrow she fires at a truck that like they're arguing over. Not that one is too dangerous. Not that one's too dangerous. Yeah. Did you see the name on the truck?
No.
It's called Trust the Bro Moving Company, which is the most on the button style. I want to get that T-shirt now because you know it's the same as The Simpsons had clumsy student movers, right? Because moving companies in the US, I almost worked for one. They tend to hire students who need money and don't give a shit about details like, this is your grandmother's finest porcelain. I'm like, I'll just put this box here, right? You know? So just trust the bro is on message.
Nice. And also the bro reference from the comics. Woohoo!
There you go. I didn't get that one, so there we go.
So I'm looking forward to Hawkeye. It's going to be really, really cool. Fingers crossed. I'm enjoying What If, but I want some live action. Is what I want. Yeah.
I didn't see this week's What If, but I saw there was like a mid-season teaser trailer thing, and they made it look like it was mostly old clips. They made it look like the zombies were a threat, the thing we've been talking about, thinking that might happen, or that there might be some through-line thread, which there's not going to be. No. They made it look like that using existing footage we've already seen, but as far as we know, there is no thread here. This is just going to be one-offs. So so it feels a little less essential to me now.
I was just hoping to collect like all of the pictures with the Watcher just standing. He's such a fucking creeper. He's just kind of standing there. Like in all these new episodes, there's at least one shot of him just standing there, staring you down.
He's the Watcher. He's always watching. He's
called the Watcher. Yeah.
I know. It should be called the Creeper. That's what his new name is.
Every time you're going
there a villain called the Creeper?
I think there's several. Every time you're pooping, he's watching.
Mm-hmm.
He's there. And not only is he there, he's composing a soliloquy about it. Millions of worlds, millions of events, and I am watching this guy poop.
I would see a 25-minute episode of that.
Yeah, I mean,
what if the
Watcher
Tony Stark had constipation?
What if the Watcher was a total perv?
All right. Yeah.
Back to work.
Back to work. Moving on from Hawkeye, we also got a full trailer for Steven Spielberg's Westside Story, which Bahir and I have been super just chomping at the bit for. This has been delayed, obviously, like I think a year and a half now, because of COVID. And I have to say, this full trailer, like the first teaser, I was like, teaser trailer, whatever, 1 minute of nothing. This full trailer, however, gave me the feels. Like, you can see why Steven Spielberg is so good. Like, you can tell those aren't ordinary lenses. And when Steven Spielberg uses lens flare, it's not just J.J. Abrams on a computer going, and we'll put one there, and we'll put one there, and we'll put one there. You know, it's everything is thought out in that frame. It's it looks so exciting. Oh, it looks so good.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that GIF of the scene where Indy is packing in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it shows there's a GIF where it has, or a video where it has the scene and also how the scene was, where the camera is.
No.
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
Because Marcus comes in the front door, they have like a track in a semicircle, so it follows them to the front door. They go into the living room. They go over to this. They hang out in the living room for a bit. They zoom in a bit, then they zoom out, move over to the suitcase, move back, and it's all one. It's all oneer.
The oners, the Spielberg oneer.
Yeah.
It's if I ever want like if I would ever pay money for an NFT GIF, it would be of a Spielberg oneer.
Yeah.
I can't decide which one, but it'll be a Spielberg one.
I mean, when he does when he wants the lens flares in what's it called again? I forgot the name of the movie. I'm not a musical guy.
West Side Story.
West Side Story. Sorry, I was like Into the what now? Into the Heights? What the West Side Story. He's the one who's like, I want some lens flare. Steven says, "Cue the sun." You know,
wake up the sun.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's that one. There's that one beautiful scene when they meet at the dance, right? There's the lens flare is perfect. It sets up the moment. I've seen the 61 original so many times that I know what he's going for. It's a dream there, right? Yeah. Whereas when J.J. Abrams' excuse for putting on a lens flare, it's because the future is so bright. You know, it's like suck a coconut, J.J. I don't know, man. I like everything about this, from that opening shot, the close up of Maria, and then just
the silhouetted showdown.
The silhouette showdown. But even I was gonna say there's that one shot which is just screams Spielberg. In the trailer there's a shot of the camera sort of flying over a police car chasing three boys down the road, which just looks so Spielberg, right? The way it sort of tilts a little bit. There's a slight Dutch angle there. I can't wait for this one. I'm hoping I get a chance to watch it on the big screen.
Well, it's got a date. December in Malaysia. Fingers crossed.
I'm hoping I get to watch it on the big screen.
Right? Anything can happen between now and then. However, I have to say, I'm glad that it looks like he's taken the approach to genuinely remake the 1961 film, as opposed to trying to modernize it. I mean, he's gone for the look, the color palette. It looks like a period piece, right? The only thing which we haven't heard about is we don't know if there are new songs.
There is a new character, right?
There's a new character, but we don't know if there are new songs. Rita Moreno plays a new character,
new character.
Yeah, she doesn't revisit her old role, obviously, but she looks like a auntie, like a
matriarch of some kind.
Like a matriarch of some sort, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but every time they remake a musical, they always do the stupid thing where they go, oh, look, we've added 2 new musical numbers, which you've dug up from, like, Leonard Bernstein's notebooks. And I'm just like, there's a reason it was in his notebooks. No. He didn't think it was good enough to make the final cut.
Let it go. Let
it go, right? But I'm super excited about this. So, December, fingers crossed, Malaysian release date. Who knows? Yeah. But speaking of, I guess, street-level musicals.
Street-level musicals?
Yeah, Spider-Man the musical, Turn Off the Dark. Yeah, what about it?
I did not need to be reminded of that catastrophe. I mean, when people actually die in the making of a musical, maybe it's time to stop, Bono.
Not a great one.
In the Heights finally hit Malaysian screens. I mean, we're not getting a chance to watch it in cinema, but it's on HBO Go. They seem to be bringing in all of those movies that we missed onto Go instead of giving them a cinema release, because we got The Conjuring 3, we got Space Jam: New Legacy, and also now In the Heights. I can't remember what other major Warner releases we missed, which were dropped on HBO Max, but I'm glad that we're at least getting this on an official legal channel, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also we haven't heard any more about whatever's going on with HBO Max in Asia. I saw a headline about they're looking to launch in Europe it January 2022 or something? I saw a headline.
HBO has been removed from Amazon Prime.
Right.
In Europe.
So it's I think in Europe and maybe in the US as well. So you can only get HBO and HBO Max.
Because a lot of their content...
because you could subscribe to channels, right?
Yeah. Yes. But in the UK and lots of Europe, they would be on the Sky version as well, the HBO TV shows. So they want to keep the Go branding. They want to keep having things on there to make... They've been adding stuff all the time, but a lot of their back catalogue stuff. So they want to keep that whenever it does eventually switch over to Max.
Yeah. But if Europe and the UK are only getting it next year, we're going to be much further down the road. I feel
a while longer. Yeah.
But no, we finally got a chance to watch it legally. I had seen it because I have HBO Max, so I watched it when it first dropped, and I really enjoyed it at the time.
We really should have a VPN sponsor for these sections, you know.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. And it was one of those things that, as I was watching it, I did miss the opportunity of seeing it in the cinema because I was reading all of these reactions on the internet at the time. And of course, it came out when America had just reopened and everyone was so fucking excited to go outside and be with people that here came this big, stomping, loud, epic, happy musical. And here I was sitting on a 55-inch TV with like a basic surround sound system going, yeah.
It's
but
okay,
no,
man.
But I really enjoyed this, and I can understand why people saw this and went, "Oh shit, this Lin-Manuel guy, he's one to watch."
Yeah, because I mean,
but hey, you've already seen it 3 times, right?
I've already seen it 3 times. Yes,
that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you didn't like it then, no?
Yeah. No, I thought it was okay, but I just wanted to go back and make sure. Yeah,
just make sure,
it,
like.
But
for the second and the third time.
Yeah. I mean, after the first time I watched it, I was like, I liked it, but I thought I'd wait 2 hours and then go back into it again.
2 hours is a good time. I mean, you don't want to get cramp. You can't go in 2 hours after you watch it the first time.
You know, you want to get some fresh eyes. You want to get that 120-minute fresh eyes. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's good. I liked it. Yeah. No. Yeah. Holy shit, guys! I love this movie. I mean, just to jump on what Uma was saying earlier. Look, this has come up. Most people are watching, seeing, hearing about this after Hamilton, but this is the precursor, right? It's come up after Hamilton as the film, but this was where Lin-Manuel, this was his first big break, and you can see it. It's all over this. It's so much fun. It's got the same pacing as Hamilton. The music styles, I wouldn't say similar, but you can, if you listen to the Hamilton soundtrack as many times as I have, you sort of hear he's got the same themes, same styles.
Ticks. I think it was because we had something similar with Vivo, right? There were certain things where he's going to do the speed rapping and then going to do this thing with they're going to talk like this. There's that element. There's like a few other bits. There's like dropping. I can't remember. Someone did someone with more musical talent than I did a comprehensive listing of them online. I think a while when Vivo came out.
Yeah, but there's a Caribbean feel.
There's a strong Caribbean feel, which is also just laser targeted towards me, and
being Cuban as you are,
being wishing I was Cuban, but no, I this is great. I really enjoyed this. This is gone. I mean, the soundtrack's just going to be on replay for a while now.
And you hadn't listened before seeing it, had you? I think you mentioned before.
I had not.
Because you had listened to Hamilton in advance, right? You had been.
Yes, I had. Yeah. So,
the story is also a super, like a personal one, so you can tell it's his first work. He's, characters are modeled after people he knows. I mean, one of the main characters is pretty much modeled after his own wife and his own kind of love story. And it's a very typical American immigrant story. So, the immigrant who loves America but has a yearning for his home because he misses his heritage and history and wants to go back. And that's essentially the story of Usnavi in this. He wants to make enough money to go back to his parents' home and his dad's home and start a bar over there.
Yeah,
right?
But even then, and that sort of flipped with Nina in how she, in her journey, she sort of moved she's moved west, and she yearns to come back to Washington Heights where she's with family, right? And when I say family, I don't just mean her father. I mean, the neighborhood is a family. So it's that sort of that reverse mirror between the two of them, between Usnavi and between Nina.
Yeah, and also in this show there is something kind of cool. It's all kind of rooted around this concept of sueñito, which means little dreams.
Yeah,
and essentially the story kind of runs through everybody's little dreams, right? Whether it's the hairdresser who kind of has to leave the Heights and what her dreams are, and then Usnavi's Vanessa, what her dreams are about becoming a fashion designer, and so it's all of the. Even it's like minorities. We can only dream small, right? And that's this kind of message that
and even then, it's like for example, Nina's father is played by Jimmy Smits. Is that thing of his dream is that his daughter can do better, right? So it's not even
Because
his dream anymore.
She goes to Harvard, right? Or or one of the
Stanford. She goes to
Ivies.
Stanford.
That's right.
She was to Stanford, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's that thing of, yeah, they're little dreams, but also it's gotten to that point where some of them don't even have dreams for themselves anymore. It's somebody else's. They're hoping for someone else. And man, this thing is so good.
Yeah, there's I mean, it's and the thing I think we talk about it in our review a little bit, which is on the site. And the thing which I liked about it in particular is, especially coming out now, I mean, the stage production came out years ago, but of course that still has limited accessibility, right? I mean, there's very select people who end up going to theater. Tickets are still expensive, blah, blah, blah. But having it on cinema now is, I think, important because it's a genuinely hopeful and joyous film.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the balance for me was fantastic because they address really serious issues about immigration. They talk about dreamers in the United States. But yet they're angry, but they're not without hope. And I think that is in contrast to a lot of the other shows we've seen that come out of America where they feel like, oh, the only way to motivate people to take action is to be angry all the time.
Yeah.
And yet here is a lot of singing and dancing and happiness, and you still feel motivated to like say, fuck yeah, I want to change the world. So that's very smart.
Yeah. And there's also a big thread about identity and where you come from, but not in an alienating sort of way, not in a I want to go back there. You know, this is my place, but I'm also Dominican, I'm also Cuban, I'm also Mexican, but you know, I live in Washington Heights. Washington Heights is home.
Yeah.
I identify as a Mexican, but I'm not going back to Mexico, right? So there's that really sort of it's a really interesting tone and line to toe for them.
And John M. Cho, man, like wow.
Yeah.
As in the way he kind of explodes this from the stage into like these big set pieces with dancing and singing in the streets and swimming pools. It's very well shot, man. Yeah, you gotta get on this, Ian. It's so good.
I have to hook up that's the thing we were saying about when HBO Max come here. As soon as it's available and an easy way for me to not have to plug my laptop into the TV, that's when I'll get it. That's when it'll arrive, right? At the moment, I still...
Is there's no HBO Go app for like the Xbox or
Not from my
PS?
region, because my account is locked to Ireland, so...
Okay.
And because I thought I could get around with the PlayStation that I bought here, but my PlayStation account is tied to the PlayStation Portable I bought in Ireland a long time ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it sounds good, and I mean, I wonder. This is the kind of approach that. Do you wonder this approach could work for Come Away Home? Come from away. Yeah, home and away. Whatever.
I don't think so. I think had they taken this approach, you would have lost a lot of the magic of 12 guys running 6,000
the coolness
people.
of the 12 guys. Yeah, I think that gimmick really worked on that show. Yeah.
I mean, Come From Away is magical, but I think it's magical because of the way they treated it. Whereas in this one, this one works the way it does, even more so. Like, I don't think a Hamilton movie would be the same, but this one works because you want to see the vibrancy of the streets. Yeah.
And boom, it's there. There's like hundreds of people in these massive dance sequences, and it's very cool. Yeah. Definitely check out In the Heights. I think if you're a Lin-Manuel fan, Hamilton fan, it's a no-brainer. You will check it out. But even if you're not, I think this one's got it's not just it's not a frivolous musical, right? It feels like it has something to say, but at the same time, it's joyous and happy and just fun.
But also, I think if you're not in the mood for anything with a message, this is also a perfect movie, right? The music's great, the story is simple. It's not, you don't have to keep track of too many people, and it's beautiful. And it's beautiful to watch. And I think this is the perfect sort of weekend matinee film.
Agreed.
Yeah.
In the Heights, you can catch it. It dropped Malaysia Day on HBO Go, so you can download or stream it from the app. Check it out. Let us know what you think. You know how to get in touch. Goggler MY, all our social medias. You can also email us, podcast@goggler.my, and WhatsApp us on 012-524-5208.
And for those of you watching live, you can drop us comments on YouTube, and we'll try and keep up because it's working this week.
Yay! Last week it kind of crapped out on us.
Yeah, last week you just said you cannot connect to chat, and I'm like, why? What did I do? I didn't do anything.
I didn't break it.
Yeah.
We also this week on Wednesday, we got new episodes to Into the Night, which was a show that we really fucking loved from last year.
Hell yeah. Play the music.
I have not.
I
yeah,
don't want to play the
not
music.
had
We get
the time-
copyright strike.
Your stream
That's
has
not
been
yeah.
suspended. Yeah, I really loved the first season. Actually, all of us did. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. Bahir, neither have you. But
Nope.
Ian, you have binged
I've
all the
burned through it.
episodes.
Yeah, they're still only half an hour long, so it still doesn't take that long to get through.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. And this added to my tension week. We'll get to why in a little bit later, but like after Psychonauts and into this, it's like, oh god, the drums, because they do. I'm getting chills thinking about it. They do that thing where it's like, oh no, what are we gonna do? I don't know. What are we gonna do? And it just starts. And like, I think the first time it happened, I was like, oh, I remember this. And then your heart starts getting faster and faster. It's like, what do you mean the plane won't take off? It's like, oh god, no, everything's bad, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And then cuts to black and says into the night, and you're straight back away on the
And
same
you're
trip.
back in.
Yeah, you're literally
Yeah.
back on the same ride, but I think it's a slight problem in that it's not the same ride, but it's a ride you've been on before.
Okay.
Oh.
Like with 6 episodes every year and a half, it's not enough. Like I don't want 11 seasons of The Walking Dead. I gave up. Give me just more of this, or just move it on a little bit. I think I messaged you guys that like by the middle of it, last season ended with like they were just flying from the bastard sun. Sun was going to murder you. Microwaves, God only knows what. All you could do was fly into the night and just stay on the right side of the Terminator to stay alive. And
Yeah.
as it went on, it got worse because something airline fuel they weren't getting as much juice out of it, so that was bad. They had to get particular things. So it was all these built-in timers are going off. You have the personalities on board. You've got fuel running out. The food they're picking up is no longer nutritious because it's been microwaved to death.
Right.
And they got to a dam at the end of the first season, and they walked in, and there was like, oh, what's going to happen here? And what happens here is what happens in every post-apocalyptic TV show when you run into soldiers. The one that springs to mind for me was 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
Do you remember there was like they had Brendan Gleeson and then they lost Brendan Gleeson, and then the soldiers, and then I can't remember. For some reason, I think this happens in the Triffids, but I don't think it does. I can't remember if in the Triffids, but there's a lot of post-apocalyptic shows. I have to compile a list where once you run into the soldiers are used to being in charge. There's a couple of meatheads. Some guys thinks they know better than everybody else on how to run things. And it's the same kind of tropes, and you don't get to spend so much time with Sylvie and your friends. Like,
Right.
Ayaz gets a bit more. I think Ayaz is his name. Ayaz gets a little bit more runtime. They are still doing the fantastic thing where everyone is speaking all the languages all the time. Like people are.
Nice.
Right.
You're watching in subtitles, but like there's people speaking in German and French. Like it is. This movie is basically how to shame English people to learn more goddamn languages, because so many times there's one guy in the room saying, "This is great, but what are you talking about? Can you please speak English?" And they're all like, "Merde," and they just they keep going on because they're all NATO and all multilingual,
Right.
and it's great.
Yeah.
But the military thing just takes too much. You've got 6 episodes this season. There is something going on with some, they start, there's a food shortage. There's a seed bank in Norway they can get to. So we're back on planes again. Things develop. They're in touch with other communities. There are other people out there, but one of them goes dark.
Okay.
There's a reason for that one going dark that pays off in the final episode, but pays off in a really weird way that just left me with more questions. And that final drum beat where the track kicked off and Skrillex had his hand in the air and the screens cut to black and it said into the night, I was like, no, not now. So 2 or 3 episodes of having to deal with some military, I won't say which military asshole, but it's pretty obvious once you meet him. 2 or 3 episodes of that and dicking around in a bunker, like that could have easily been compacted down to just do that in one episode and move on a bit. But it's
right.
it can still play you like an accordion. Like you're just, so tense. And in a good way. Like I'm not, it moves quickly enough that I'm annoyed at the military plot, but I'm not annoyed at the tension of the individual beats, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
No,
that-
no, no. I get that. I get
So
that. I think,
it literally is, when people talk about the show or something about being a roller coaster, it is a roller coaster in that it does get that like you get. I feel like I'm getting on a plane with turbulence all the time. Your stomach is doing loops as you're like, oh no, oh Jesus, oh God, and once or twice it does feel a little bit like this is a bit much. Like why did you leave that person beside that mission critical thing when you know they're not a person who should be left alone, kind of thing.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
But for the most part, it still works.
Oh, that's good. Oh, no, that's good to hear
Okay.
because.
But I just
because
wish-
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was worried that the tension of being on a plane and constantly outracing the sun would be lost once they were in a bunker. But I'm glad they have found new ways to keep that tension going, because that's what the show was, right? Because
Yeah.
I think even in the first season, they did very little to explain what had happened or why it happened.
Yeah. Which is
Meanwhile,
perfect.
yeah, the magic of the show was the small nuggets of information about, oh, well, without the sun, the fuel behaves this way, or
Yeah.
because this food's been exposed to too much sun,
Or whatever the
the
type
cells
of
are breaking
yeah,
down.
whatever
Yeah.
the type of radiation that's the sun's putting out that's frying people instantly. It's
Correct.
also damaging. It's breaking down the food nutrients, and it's killing all all plant life and stuff like that. But,
Exactly. So all of that stuff was just very good writing because there was so little exposition.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm going to do this weekend. So I'm going to catch up on Into the Night this weekend.
It's like if you think of a musician you really like, but some of their songs you don't like the craft and the artwork is perfectly there. It's the same. They're nailing the solos. It's just that
Yeah.
you don't really like
Yeah.
the song.
You're right.
Yeah, no,
That's how it
yeah,
feels.
it's like when the Chili Peppers release a double album and you're like, nope, one would have been fine. One would have been great. Just take the songs out, put it into one. Right?
Oh
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Okay,
a little disappointing, but like still, everyone's great. Love all their characters. Just seeing, and it just that multilingual thing is just so good as well. Just everyone talking
Yeah.
to each other all the time. Fantastic.
Cool. Into the Night. 6 new episodes on Netflix. Even if you haven't seen season 1, it's only 30 minutes. Go check it out. You will not be disappointed. We fucking love this thing.
It rips, and I think it'll come to other shows we'll talk about later a little bit with the Netflix stuff. Like every character, something that's similar to Money Heist, like every character's face feels like they're drawn by a cartoonist. Maybe it's just Europeans or Central Europeans, but you know what I mean? Like it's like when you think about Money Heist, you think of Palermo, you know his face instantly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll come up as well in Squid Game or whatever, and other shows as well, where when you see an American show like the one we'll get to next, I'm setting up for segue, and it just looks okay, it looks like reality, and you're like, why is it doing that? Because everyone stands out in your mind as a character, but the way that they manage to, like, every scene is like, it's almost like there's a metronome in the background. It's like every scene is leading to get that tension. So with 30 seconds to go before end credits, you're ready for the dum, 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 and then you will go into the ad break.
Yeah, it's the formula, right? And it seems like the formula has changed from network television to cable television to now streaming TV, and now all the shows we get on streaming TV the vast majority of the shows we get on streaming TV seem to follow those beats now. Like, you don't have to look at your watch anymore. You know exactly when that's going to happen, right?
Yeah, and I think this is the pinnacle of that, because like it was, well, Daredevil was, you get 3 seasons, you get 3 episodes, and you get a fight, right? That was the Netflix case. This crams an awful lot into. I don't think there's anyone playing tension and drama at that scale on a 30-minute. It's like a 3-minute pop song per episode. Only it's tension, right?
Right.
I don't know what other show is like this. I can't imagine now. You watched a little bit of for a post-apocalyptic show, which there are many. You watched a little bit of The Walking Dead this week. Do you still get that feeling of like anything could happen, or is it just like, what are they up to? Because it's going to just keep trudging. They're going to trudge through the apocalypse.
No, for me, that's exactly. I think it's been like that. Like, I stopped watching in season 6, I think, which was 5 years ago, and I think I stopped having that feeling in season 6. Like, it didn't feel like, oh, surprise, shock, right? Even when Negan goes crazy, I'm just like, no, this is what I expect from this character now, because it's more a case of, oh, let's catch up with these folks and see what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't think any other show gives you the same feeling as Into the Night. I don't. That's a good thing, because my heart probably couldn't take it. And also binging this I think it's a bad idea. Spread it out over a night and watch some cartoons afterwards that are a bit chill, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think that's the sad thing, right? Because when you rewatch the first season of The Walking Dead, or even the second season of The Walking Dead, you had no idea what they were going to throw at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
even those very first moments in The Walking Dead when he has to shoot that little girl zombie. You're like, I didn't know what he was going to do because I'm just like, it's just a little girl.
Yeah.
But it's a zombie. But yeah, so it was everything took me off guard, and that no longer happens. And I'm glad that you're still getting that from Into the Night. So yeah, I'm going to check it out.
I mean, no offense to anybody, but 2 seasons, 6 seasons in with The Walking. I mean, the problem with The Walking Dead was at some point, The Walking have to stop and rest. The Walking have to set up farm.
Yes.
The Walking have to bury people.
I think The Walking was a rating smash, and The Walking became a business. I think that was the thing. It's like,
Correct.
That's true. You're right.
We're gonna stay on this farm because we've built a set, and we can probably, we can eke out some scenes. Like the farm was one that I think it only lasted half a season, if not even a season. But everyone thinks it was like 6 seasons in a movie. But it was that like they're gonna have some drama. Oh no, there's a walker somewhere. Someone gets it. We're gonna walk some. Our perfect paradise is gone. We move somewhere else. Something happens there. But even in those beats, it wasn't. I'm trying to explain it in a weird way because it's like even within those beats, it wasn't delivering, like it wasn't using television like a painter. Like Into the Night feels like a painter who's like, I'm going to get you tense on this section. You're not even like I only realize it because I'm watching them in a heap and I'm taking notes. But it's like I see they're starting tension now. Something's going to happen in a minute. Like they're expertly doing that where it's like I'm going to start this line, this through line is going to be in, and we noticed that I think we only learned it. We learned how to play Into the Night in the first season, where it's like, do you hear drums? Oh fuck, something bad's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're
And that's
using
great because
it's not just the music; it's like everything else they build around that as well, like the beats match. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you consciously pick up on that because you're taking notes. But I think for the average viewer, it's going to be a subconscious thing, and that's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, they're just going to surf the wave and they're just saying, like, did you see? Like, I caught an awesome wave. And in the music as well, there's 2 moments. What was it? There's one moment where someone has a really harsh realization about life in this world, and there's another one where it's the A-team. We're going to build our way out of this situation.
Right.
Total bang. Just the first one, like, I was choking up again. Maybe it was just like maybe it's just because it's different. It's different music from the normal beats. And the second one was like, fuck yeah, we're gonna science this fuck out of this shit.
MacGyver or something.
Yeah, and it was like completely out of nowhere, completely unlike the rest of the music. Because I was thinking I like the music anyway, but maybe it's just the drums. But it was actually whoever does the music for this is a genius.
Cool. Into the Night. Check it out on Netflix. Let us know what you think. Which brings us to our first big review of this week. Now,
these are short reviews, are they?
those are the short ones, right? I mean, no, but so this is a show that we've been waiting for a long time because it had some serious production issues. They had changed showrunners multiple times, lead actors. I think the entire pilot had to be reshot. But it's Why the Last Man, which is based on a cult comic, award-winning comic by Pierre Guerra and Brian K. Vaughan. And it, I think, ran for 5 years back in the early 2000s. And I know people have been trying to adapt this for a long time. And then it finally landed on FX in the US. And I think ever since the Disney acquisition and all that stuff, it is now in Hulu on the US, which means we might get it on Disney Plus Hotstar, because on our app, there is a trailer for the show in the coming soon section.
How many
Disney
boxes
Plus
along is it?
Indonesia. Oh, it's on the second box.
Is that before or after X-Men Animated?
X-Men Animated is no longer on the coming soon thing. Oh, no, it is. I think X-Men Animated is number 5, box number 5.
Oh, it's back. Okay, I was looking forward to that. Damn it. Okay.
But no, the arrangement of the boxes mean nothing, Ian McNally. They lie.
The boxes lie.
Boxes lie.
That's Uma's environmental. That's Uma's environmental storytelling in the post-apocalyptic movie where it's just like red paint daubed across the books. The boxes lie.
So Hotstar Indonesia, Hotstar India, and Disney Plus Singapore have all posted on their social medias that Why the Last Man is coming Friday, like on the 13th of September, right? I'm sorry, the 17th of September, because it was released in the US on the 13th. And we still haven't heard anything from Disney Plus Hotstar Malaysia. So if it drops on the 17th, surprise, lucky us. If not, we have no idea. I know Disney Plus in the UK is only getting it on September 22nd. So there seems to be a staggered international release for some reason.
All of which is why we don't have listing on the sites of what to watch this month, because it's impossible to know.
But also for some reason, streaming services treat it like this big secret.
Yeah.
And we can never understand why. If you tell people when something's coming out, they're going to be excited and they may even tune in.
And it's like new shows. If you're doing a show now, just make sure the contract has, this is going global, baby. You know, just have that in there as it like it'll launch day and date on whatever service we put it on, and you'll get.
It's 2021. Right?
Yeah, I mean, just maybe they don't want to because they don't want to have to add in the extra countries. Maybe it says like per country the production team will ask for a bonus or something like that. Or Scarlett Johansson's team has been asking for that, and Disney's like, no.
Yeah, but then by 20 minutes after it's out, the rest of the world has pirated your damn show. So you want to fight that in any way you can. Anyway, so the first 3 episodes are out in the US, and then it's going to drop weekly. And we finally got to see what the show would look like after all of these years of trouble. And I am a little bit on the fence with Why the Last Man.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
in the sense that it's very well shot. It's got all of the hallmarks of what should be a premium production. And I think I'm at that stage where I need to see more to figure out whether I like it or not. And I have one major nitpick with the show. But wait, before I get into that, story is very simple. We live in a world, there is an event, and everyone with a Y chromosome dies except 2 people. Leoric, who is a dude, a white cisgender dude, as all of the descriptors seem to be describing him as.
Sure.
And a capuchin monkey called Ampersand, who is his pet.
Yes.
We don't know why this happens. We don't know why the event happened, but essentially the planet is just populated with women, and they've got to figure things out, right?
It's just your classic, your classic standard end of the world situation, Chief.
Kind of.
Yeah.
And my one nitpick with it is that the comics were always fun. The comics had jokes. It was a bad situation, but there were fun, hopeful moments in it. This series tends to take the approach of every other post-apocalyptic series, which is dour, the end is nigh, oh no, what are we going to do?
It's so grim.
So sad.
It's grim,
right? There's very little gallows humor.
And I think I wouldn't even have noticed it if it weren't for Sweet Tooth. Because Sweet Tooth did post-pandemic fare in a way that was still fun and hopeful. And that kid just lit up every scene he was in, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know how you guys felt about it, but we're actually living in a fucking post-pandemic world or in a pandemic world, and this one just feels a little too much for right now.
And I think, and just to sort of go back to what you were saying, I agree with you. I kind of feel like I need to see more, but which is weird because we've seen 3 episodes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. This is the point. This is the point where we should already be on board with this. It's a comic that all 3 of us, I assume, really like.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's been a while since I read half of it.
Yeah, and I think it's weird that 3 episodes in, I'm still on the fence.
I think I want to see more of Why the Last Man, the series. I want to see less of Why the Last Man.
Right.
Also, so did either of you revisit the comic recently?
No.
Last year I did.
Okay, so your memories might be sharper than mine because there's a lot more before, like, what happens in end of episode 2, beginning of episode 3 happens, right? Is there a lot more of Yorick on his own, wandering around before 355 finds him?
Not a lot. It's only a couple of issues.
Okay.
Yeah, 355 finds him quite quickly.
Yeah.
But then they have to go cross country, right? They don't just zip. Because I can understand it's like, we've done this before. That is The Walking Dead. It's like, I gotta
plod along across the country.
I'm trying to work out. I'm trying to remember what Shane just said. Gotta go, Rick. Whatever. I gotta go get my mom, Rick. Whatever that was.
In the comic, they don't just sort of fly to meet the mother, right? It was a couple of issues for them to get to the mother.
Yeah.
To get to DC.
And there's a pacing in comics where you're selling your world. Like I was reading Gail Simone's Clean Room, and it's it's one of those things like a Stephen King novel that if you describe it plainly, it's very simple, but the execution is the key. And it's something that, like, in this case, it's something like that with what I talked about earlier with the Into the Night or with the Netflix shows where they do something different with it. the show was a little bit of the Walking. The comic was a little bit of the Walking Dead before the Walking Dead, right?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. So was that trudging it because that suits serialized comic storytelling better than TV serial.
Yeah.
Like you have your storyboards done, but there's certain things you would like 5 to 10 issues can come back down to one episode of TV show because people will like oh, who's that character or who's this thing because they know they're going to get it in the next issue. Whereas TV audiences can get bored with that.
Yeah.
But the comic utilized it really well in the sense that they kind of used that road trip concept to introduce a whole bunch of fun new characters and put Yorick in different situations, right? Like, and I don't know, like you said, Ian, we've seen 3 episodes, but they actually haven't progressed much from the first few issues of the comic.
Well, they jumped ahead to DC.
No, but what I mean is like story-wise,
Yes,
because it feels like they're still in the first like 6 or 12 issue arc.
Yeah,
which means they're really taking their time with it.
Well, I think they're doing that in a way, but I think they're also identifying that all these other shows do exist, and an entire season of Yorick trudging to meet his mom wouldn't be interesting anymore. It's been done.
Yeah, that would be frustrating.
The little stories would be frustrating, and you're like, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just do that? Especially seeing so many services are working. It's not a total Walking Dead situation here. We do have some power. We do have some phone networks working, things like that. But it still does have like, it still does. Just there's things the show does to just annoy the fuck out of me because they're done for no reason. Like the opening of it is just like Yorick 3 weeks later after the event, right? What do we learn from that? What do we learn from that couldn't have just been done like if the show had started with the 3 days before the event, right? Oh, I'm interested. What's going on here? We learn nothing about it. We know that he's Y the Last Man, and we get the idea that maybe they're going to start each episode with a Y on screen, and then they just don't bother with that. But
no, but it's that thing of like that like you said that preamble is exactly what the description of the show is. If I don't know anything about this comic, that preamble doesn't do anything because I would have read the description and I would have decided.
You don't need to read the description. It's the title of the show.
Oh,
it's literally the last man. I guess you're like everyone's doing the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Don't that's the last man.
No, but like that preamble does nothing. Like you said, right? Yeah. It's him by himself in the middle. I'm just like.
It shows you that he really loves his monkey.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah, but it's not like
also,
it's not
I'm
like.
glad you brought up the why thing, Ian, because I thought like yet again that for me just betrayed a lack of attention to detail. Like we saw how cool it was when the Watchmen did it in every episode.
Yeah.
When they found a new way to introduce those fucking titles, right?
But it's hard.
And I thought they were going to do it with this show as well after watching, and then I was like, nope.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: I don't hate it.
No. But
like, I don't know if I care. 5
years ago, maybe I would have been more interested. I haven't read into the whole back history of the problems getting screen. Has this series, while we've had the showrunner problems, all that kind of stuff, has this series like started and stopped? Like, did they shoot stuff and then have to reshoot stuff, or?
But I think they had to reshoot even before the pandemic, though, because I know they reshot the whole first episode because they had a completely different actor playing Yorick. And so they had actor changes and showrunner changes. And I don't know if the showrunner changes were because of a difference in vision and whether they had to rewrite a lot of the stuff. Like, none of that's been actually reported. The only thing that's been reported is it was once a real capuchin monkey, Marcel from Friends, and then now it's a CGI monkey, which I have to say... CGI monkeys looks great, but then it's Industrial Light and Magic, so okay.
But also, fuck that monkey. Like, just Jesus. Straight away, it's like they haven't done anything to build that opening scene again. It shows us he'll do anything for his monkey, but also we don't see why he'd do anything. Like, as far as we've seen, it's an asshole pet. Like, there's literally nothing else to it. It's not. It's part of his act in the comic, isn't it?
Yes.
Like, and it's more of a longer term pet. It makes it seem like this is a rabid animal that he just hangs on to because he's an asshole.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, it's another sign this guy's an asshole in a show filled with signs this guy's an asshole. And there's things like that.
And I think that I thought that worked better in the comic. I think
because he was incredibly annoying in the comics too.
He was, but for some reason watching him on camera it feels just I want to punch him. Like I don't know why anybody hasn't punched him yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping maybe they're building up to that, but there's little things as well, like when you finally experience the event through Hero's eyes. They seem to have spent the money to have things going on in the background, but they shoot it in like a walleye lens or something, so that you just see her face and bits of the background, and everything else is blurred out. I'm like, is this is this an effect they applied to the footage to fix something that was a problem? Because this is what I wondered about the production issues or not.
So I thought they were just trying to be clever because she's experiencing trauma.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I
thought they were trying to do a thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, okay, cool, but it doesn't end up being visually interesting. It's just like it feels like a budget thing, even though I can see there's people in the background, so you spent that money. Same with the title cards. The title cards where it's like, for some reason, I think maybe that came from the comic, I can't remember, where whoever's writing the title cards counts in 4s and then scratches them off and then adds 1. So that'd be understandable if you see that for like, there's one title card which is day 51, I think, because I figured that one out. And it shows that like things have moved on a bit. But the first one you see is day, and it's got 4 scratched out and then 3 beside it. And I'm like, is that 7? Is that are those? Is this like what? What are you trying to? It's a cool thing if you're homaging the comic, but like, why is it 4s? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's even prisoners.
Is that 4s?
Yeah, they
5?
scribed them off in 4s. I don't know why, and it was annoying enough to me that I was like, what is this?
I always assumed it was 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5.
Yeah.
That's what I always thought it was.
I don't know. I haven't been to prison, so I don't know.
I mean, look, honestly, that thing's annoying because there was one point where they jumped 67 days forward.
Yeah.
I had to pause and count.
Yeah, that's the one I thought was 51, but apparently
just,
I was counting wrong. So yeah.
I think it was 67.
But that's the type of thing. That's the type of thing where the show should have someone doing that. Like, if it's 355, the first time you see her, she's scratching off on her little diary of how long she's been undercover or something. Like that's. They seem to miss an awful lot of that glue, and then what is there is just shot like very flat and not very stylized, and it's just like, okay.
And I don't know what the reason for this overcomplication is, because the comic is great, but it's not like Sandman or Lord of the Rings or something. It's not considered to be unadaptable. It's a very straightforward comic. It's got complex issues and complex themes, but the storytelling and the narrative is not complex in that sense, right? Saga, for example, is a much harder thing to even attempt.
There's a guy with a television for a head.
Right, exactly.
And he's a prince of robots.
I mean, look, you say that, but Umbrella Academy's got a fish. It's got a fish head guy, right? And
Umbrella Academy, yet again, has a level of complexity even more so than Y. And so when I go back to all of these storytelling problems, I wonder if they're overcomplicating it, because they keep adding, like, I understand you've got Diane Lane, you've cast Diane Lane as the president. She's got top billing in the show. Obviously, you're going to want to use her as much as possible because she's amazing. But it feels that the consequence of that means that you've got added layers of narrative complications that you now need to get through.
Yeah, and that is my big thing. I think we're following way too many fucking people. There's too many stories here, too many side threads that
the
just
ex-president's ex-secretary, the president's story,
hero.
Like,
the Nora thread, I presume she's someone later in the comics because she seems to be going down a path that's like signposted evil. But that's something that can be explained with flashbacks later when you meet her and like, who's this bitch? And then like you get the backstory, right? Like you do a Lost thing. You do a Lost thing. It's something that Into the Night does this with every episode starts with a flashback. It's like every episode's named after somebody and you see a flashback of their life before.
Right.
And it's a structural thing. Like you get it every episode. Lost did it whenever you wanted, but it got to the point Lost didn't give a shit. They were doing whatever they wanted to. But other shows do it where you start with a flashback or you trigger it at a certain point, right before the ad break there's a flashback and it gives you a bit of history. Here it just seems to be higgledy-piggledy, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not, we're gonna have Y every episode. No, we're not. We're gonna have a flashback to this character. No, we're not. God bless Amber Tamblyn. She's amazing at playing complete, just punch them in the face, annoying people. She was, was it Masters in House, which we finished recently?
Yes.
She was one of the House's squad that no one ever remembers because she was so annoying and persnickety in House. She's just there for House to rile her up. It was just some of the point to annoy her. She's playing the same character here. She's great at it, but I'm also like, I don't like. It's giving me the same feel as Into the Night, but in a bad way. I want she's the evil prom queen. Either I want her evil plan to come to fruition, or somebody to shoot her in the face. dragging her out like this is just making me annoyed at everybody for putting up with this crap. Like, Diane Lane knows better. Just suck her in the jaw, Diane Lane. Just knock it out. It's like when they all turn up in their like white
Republican
Nazi uniforms. It's like when they show that there's a clever thing there where they show all the heels and all the women getting shit done are like in sweats and socks and stuff.
Yeah.
They show up in their heels and pearls and like, we're business time. And it's like, okay, but Diane Lane, you can't be this stupid that you're going to let this threat fester right under your nose, right in your nose. It's got set up camp in your nose. Come on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like bits and pieces of it, but I'm just like, oh, it's
same. I think the casting for Agent 355 is fantastic. She is great. She is lifted directly from the page of the comics, and I love the character as well. And I think that was pulled off very well. I loved the conversation that Hero has with Sam, her trans friend. And it was this brief conversation just about being trans in New York and how New York was the only place he felt safe. And now that all the men are dead, suddenly he's got to explain himself all over again. And I thought that was like really clever writing.
And even Diane Lane says, you haven't found any men? It's like none with a Y chromosome.
That's right. Yeah,
they are addressing it somewhat, which is good because I don't know. Which
is cool.
Was that a trans actor?
Yes,
I think it was. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
He was in season 2 of Shameless.
Yeah, I saw that. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
And so it's got some really clever and cunning bits as well, and in which they use the situation to kind of address contemporary issues, but also do it in a way that's smart. So it's not preachy or in your face, right?
I just feel like there's too many. I don't need that. I love him as a actor. I love him as a character. Do we need him now? Do we need him in episode the trans actor?
I think it do because you need Hero, you need Diane Lane, Jennifer is it, and we need Amber Tamblyn. It's the Nora thing. Like if we didn't have Nora and those other characters were getting more points, and Yorick as well, who all we've seen is wander around New York like a lovesick dumbass puppy, and the monkey goes into subway water. New York subways are flooding now on a regular basis. Never ever go into
last week,
go into flood water. I'm like, he eventually said, I took a dip in the subway water. I feel like my skin's going to peel off. It probably will. Never ever get in flood water. Get some waders.
But no, I kind of agree with you, Bahir, in the sense that there seems to be a lot that they crammed into these 3 episodes, but that also feels like ever since a lot more TV is moving away from the 24 episode model, it feels like they have to, or they feel like they have to do as much as possible because they're never sure whether they're going to get a second season, right?
And that is something I think that riles me up. Is that they think they don't have enough. They think they need to do it. It's not that the story demands they do it.
Yeah.
It's that they think they need to do it. I understand. Like, look, the addition of a trans character is perfect. It's absolutely perfect in 2021. You have to do that. I don't know if I needed him in episode 2 or episode 1.
But like I said, I think that fits with Jorg. I think they're moving past what they're moving past what's going to make it. They're making it stand out from other shows by moving past we're going to trudge somewhere so that we have someone meeting at the finale, because like we said with The Walking Dead, that's not going to work anymore. We can't have that. You need to. It is a bit of my problem with Into the Night. If we're going to get 6 episodes every year and a half, this is not enough. The plot we got was not enough. You've introduced some new threads, but those should have been threads you introduced in the middle of the season. 3 episodes. 3 episodes in, you could have. There's so much more going on in Into the Night than these 3 episodes, and it's roughly the same length.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They need to get to what the show is going to be about, and the problem is is the show going to be? We have set points. We have how many episodes a season? Do you know? It is only 10.
I want to say 10.
Yeah. So is it we're going to have our crescendos at one introduction, 4, 8, and 10 or something like that, and that's your there has to be a cadence there. I don't feel like there's going to be a cadence at the moment because it doesn't seem like they haven't settled down into it's going to be Yorick and 355 going somewhere, or we're going to stay with Diane Lane, because even just the show about Diane Lane fixing the country after all the men die, all that stuff is great. I want more of that.
Agree. Yeah,
I would watch that. Yeah.
I just shoot Amber Tamblyn. Do it.
I'm still going to give the show a chance because I like I said, I don't hate it, and I'm curious to see where it's going to go. But it's it may not be something I'm rushing to watch every week.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's
And I
not.
think-
It's not giving those vibes of must-watch TV. This is like,
No, yeah,
maybe
this
when
is-
the season's finished, I might binge it. But like, I don't need to know exactly what's going to happen next week.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I think that is my big takeaway from this. And I remember reading the comics back when they came out, and that was on my pull list. It felt like something like, when I would collect my comics from the comic shop, that would be one of the first things I read every month, because
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, new issue of Y is out. And and I'm not saying this because I've read the comics and I'm familiar with the story, because there are shows there are remakes, reboots, and adaptations that make me feel that way even on TV. It was the same with Watchmen. Watchmen felt like must-see TV.
Yes.
Sweet Tooth felt exactly the same way. Meanwhile, with Y, it's meh see TV, right?
It has you
Yeah.
It has you asking why.
Oh. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get me coat.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's probably the feeling across the board, isn't it? That we like it, but we don't know if it's something that we wanna. It's not something I want to follow. I think Ian hit it right just now. I might wait a couple of weeks and watch 2 episodes at a time. I might want to get to it at the end of the season, but I don't know if I care enough to watch it week on week.
And I'm not going to call it lazy, because it isn't. There's, like we said, there's a lot of stuff in there that's very, very smart and well put together. But I just go back to it lacked the same attention to detail that a lot of our favorite shows have.
Yeah.
I'm not just talking about the comic book adaptations and the MCU stuff. I'm talking about even if you watch HBO's Mare of Easttown, which is premium drama, right? But there's an attention to detail in the narrative and the scripting and the character development that it feels a little short here. It feels like what you were saying earlier, Ian. It feels like they're going from beat to beat because that is where they need to go.
Yeah.
It's like someone got that screenwriting book
Yeah.
and went, this is how a 3x structure works. By this point, on minute 15, you have to do this.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like.
But, and I was just checking my notes. There is moments of hope, because there is Diane Lane's conversation with the lady on the phone.
Oh, yes, the scientist.
The scientist lady.
The
nuclear.
Yeah, that's great TV drama. I don't know whether that comes to the comic or not, but the power to convince someone to do something they don't want to do is genius. And as much as I'm giving out about Amber Tamlin, there's a moment later in that episode where they're looking at the Battlestar Galactica wall.
Yeah.
And she comes up behind her and she's trying to have this whole moment of, we all forget these people. It's the start off of a big conversation, and Diane Lane jumps. Because she's a fucking creeper.
Yeah.
And the way she holds her hand, and it also leads to a creepy place because she thinks she knows something that she's not sure about. But just those small moments of someone intending to set off a beautiful heart to heart with this conversation, and the first thing to do is scare the absolute shit out of the other person. Like little moments like that, I think I really enjoyed, and I want the show to do more of that. The conversation with 355 and Yorick as well. Or the Yorick saying good save when she says something is like, I don't know who she is, but she is. I don't know who she is, but she is not Secret Service. Like little things like that.
Yeah.
They gave me hope.
That
a little
stuff's
bit.
good. And even just going back to convincing people to do things they don't want to, 355 does it as well with the 2 Air Force pilots.
Yeah, you can see where that was going fucking immediately. Though she should have just shot him in the fucking face as soon as they got off. I was like, did they not? They didn't show a shot of him in his full biohazard gear on the plane, right? They should have. That was again. It felt like something was missing there. They're like, they get out of the helicopter, they're like, whoa, and they're like, you didn't see him the whole flight in. You didn't see that there was a dude in the back. Like what? I don't know. Maybe they're really good at focusing on being pilots, or maybe I was going to say they're political helicopter pilots. They're used to, they know not to listen in and look back. And don't look in the back. Never look in the back.
Correct.
But
Don't look at the back. Yeah.
But it was
Don't
just
listen to what the boss is saying.
from that moment. I was like, this. That's the downside of the show. It's like easily set up TV trope. It's like, oh, and we're gonna spend 3 scenes, the 2 or 3 scenes visiting with them and eating crisps to set up the fact that they're already dead, Jim.
Yeah.
The moment they landed, if they weren't already on, if they hadn't, I did think maybe there would be a super secret detail or something like that, but no, it's just that's lazy writing.
Yeah. That is. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Why The Last Man may or may not be on Disney Plus Hotstar. as you're listening to this, but keep checking our social media feeds because we will definitely update you as soon as we find out more information about it. If everything follows the US release, then we should get 3 episodes first, followed by a weekly drop after that. If you have already seen Why the Last Man, which I'm pretty sure some of you have because you're talking about it on social media, you can reach out on Goggler MY, at Goggler MY, also podcast at Goggler MY, and 012-524-5208. You were going to say, Bahir?
No, I was just going to say the weekly thing. MODOK dropped as a bunch on Hulu, but we got it weekly here. So it I don't know. Just, I don't know. They could literally drop it week on week, and you just go like, cool, yeah, no. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and also let us know if you've read the comics and if you're a fan of the comics as well, and let us know how you feel about this adaptation because it's not 100% faithful.
No.
And that's always a good thing in my book. So that's part of the reason why I want to continue watching it to see where they take the story. Right? They've kept the core, and they've just kind of already gone off in their own ways, little directions. Yeah.
Plus, they added that sick Andrew Lloyd Webber burn, which is like, oh yes, you don't like theater. I like Phantom.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's great.
Again, maybe those all those moments I'm talking about, the last few moments of like episode 3. So maybe that's a sign that they were going in their own direction.
They were, yeah.
Maybe the new showrunner changes things up.
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of good things, however, let's get to a brand new K-drama that's going to be dropping on Netflix. It might have already dropped by the time you're listening to this, if you're listening on the podcast. It's called Squid Game, and it is a 9-episode series. All the episodes drop at once because it's a Netflix original. It's not a Korean import.
It's not from SBS. It's SBS.
No, it's not from SBS. Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah, so all 9 episodes drop at once. And trust me, you will need it because if you had to watch this week on week, you'll be pulling your hair out.
Well, I would like week on week.
Okay. But it's essentially the story of a bunch of desperate people who are all incredibly in debt. And they are approached by this organization, if you will, that says, hey, come join us, play some games, and maybe you can win you enough money to buy yourself out of debt. It so happens that these games they are playing are children's games, like red light, green light. You know, the game where the person stands in front, and as soon as they turn around, you have to freeze. If not, you've lost. Only all of these games have fatal, deadly consequences.
Murder.
And yeah, it's like a cross between the Hunger Games and
Running Man.
What is the name of? Running Man.
A little bit. They were in a competition.
No, you're right, but it's just with murder.
But Running Man. Who do you think he was running from? He was running from murderers who wanted to murder him for sport on television. I think.
What is the?
You could win a refrigerator in that. I think wasn't someone win a refrigerator for killing someone? I can't. It's been a while. I gotta watch it.
It's been a long time since I've seen that show.
Yeah.
Oh, that run. I was thinking. I thought you meant the Korean Running Man.
Oh no!
What's the Korean Running Man?
The Korean Running Man is a TV show.
It's a reality show where every season they get a bunch of Korean celebrities and they do like games. It just feels like this show, but with murder, but without the murder.
Oh no, the Running Man is the Stephen King story that was made into an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where he's pursued by people. No. He's pursued by people trying to kill him for money, for prizes.
Sure, we got the wrong one.
Yeah, there is a lot of shows. I was racking my brains trying to think because this. I mean, it's Battle Royale as well.
It's Battle Royale. It's what is the show about the? Oh God, they remade it as a series of shorts on that platform that died.
Quibi.
And Quibi, yeah, where the other Hemsworth brother, Liam Hemsworth, he needs money for cancer treatment, so he signs up for this game where people hunt him for sport.
The Deadliest Game.
Deadliest Game, I think it was.
I mean,
there's
the Hard Target, the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. Also, I think the Deadliest Game is the one with Ice Cube. hunting people for money.
Yes.
It's a genre.
Yeah.
It's a genre.
It's a genre itself, right? And Squid Game kind of leans into the parasite themed, the desperation side of Korea that we don't necessarily often see or hear about.
Yeah.
And this kind of, tackles people when they're at their lowest and exploits them for entertainment. And
it's a less fantastical Alice in Borderland as well.
Kind of, yeah. It's
They were also
realer.
doing games that were murdering them, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was hooked. Like, I watched the first episode and I really enjoyed. Okay, enjoy is a harsh word because bad things happen to a lot of people.
Oh no,
but yes, I was entertained.
Have you only watched the first episode?
I've seen the second one.
Oh, okay, yeah, because the second one has interesting things to talk about television attention. The themes in this episode are just perfect. I couldn't plan it better. But it is something to talk about in that it's Korean, so it's fucking long. Like, it is 55 minutes an episode. But what they choose to do with that time, like, if this was, you can see the AMC or Fox version of this where it is like you have an opening credits that establishes down on his luck jerkface, right? And then he's in the game, and that's it, right? And then from that point, he's making allies, making enemies, trying to get through the game or whatever like that. It sounds like something I've seen before. I don't know what it is. But in this, like, that second episode shows you what makes shows like this, makes shows like Money Heist, makes shows like Into the Night stand out. They have something to say, and they're addressing your questions you're going to have, like, why doesn't everyone just say we're not going to participate in the games? They spend the time doing that and really establish just how desperate.
Right off the bat. And that's why you're right. Yeah, and that's why the second episode is fucking genius, because by the end of that episode, they completely justify why they need to go back into the game. And you're just like, that is so smart. Like, I was wondering, because it's 9 episodes, they say they have to play 6 games, right, to win billions of won. And I'm like, okay, so 9 episodes. If there's a game in episode, that'll be 6 episodes. What are they going to do in the middle, in the filler, and blah blah blah? And then I watched episode 2, and I was like, oh shit, that's very smart.
Yeah,
I see what you did there.
Like, they've already established that, like, these people are down the luck, but they went unknowingly going into what they've done. Now they've gone in. It's a comic. It's got to be a comic. I'm thinking of the same kind of thing. It's driving me insane, but it is the same kind of thing where it's like, no, I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna do it.
No, it's
a choice now. And so that answers, because otherwise, if they had just kept going from the beginning, it would have been, social media would have been a buzz like, why don't they just leave? Why don't they just vote out? But they built that into, but that's building into the story. They recognize we have to build in. There's 3 rules in Squid Club. First rule: you do not talk about Squid Club. It's also a bit of a bit of Fight Club in there. First rule is what are the rules?
Nobody can stop playing. Nobody
you refuse,
can
you
not
die.
Play a game.
You refuse, you die.
You refuse, you die.
No smoking.
Second rule, no smoking. I can't remember the 3 rules now.
Yeah.
I know the third rule is you can stop the game if the majority of people decide they want out.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And for me, what was exquisite about the show was how they told the story of these assholes, because everyone you meet, at least in this first, except barring one guy, everybody's an asshole, right? I think the laborer is probably the nicest guy, but even he does something in episode 2.
The Indian guy?
The Indian guy, right? And I'm just like, Indian guy speaking Korean, hey! But no, everyone's an asshole in some way or form, and they treat the people they love and those around them like shit. But
I don't know. I disagree with you, because I thought the Indian guy and the old man was sort of just...
Oh man, the old man was having far too much fucking fun.
The old man is awesome, but that's it. He's got nowhere else to go. It's like, that's it. This is it. And that actor,
people were dying, and he was just like.
I do have to bring up 2 things. One, fuck IMDb. They have listed as the top cast the only white people in the cast, and they have characters against them who I think they play some masked characters later on in the season.
Probably.
I couldn't.
Who cares?
I know, but I want to find the credits on Netflix are in Korean. I didn't take notes when I was watching this because I watched it with my girlfriend because she was into it, and so. Trying to find out who plays who is really hard. I want to compliment that old actor, because that older gentleman is amazing. Also, the guy who plays the first game, who invites him in, is the guy from the Train to Busan.
Yes, he's the Train to Busan guy.
He was driving me nuts.
The main guy was in the action movie we loved, Deliver Us from Evil.
Yeah.
That's Jung Jae Lee as
he-
Ki Hoon. Jung Jae Lee is. If you Google his name, I was like, wait, because sometimes you're not sure. You want to make sure you have the right name. And it's like, is that the guy? He's got matinee movie style looks, and then because he looks in the American version of this, it's a Brad Pitt. It's a Jeremy
Correct.
Norton. It's not this kind of like he does have movie style looks, but they're giving him a weird hairdo, and he's scraggly, and he's got a little bit of a
right.
beard going on.
Yeah.
And it's a
Yeah.
perfect look.
Because if you look at the glamour shots, he is a fucking hottie.
Yeah.
But they've broken him down for this,
Yeah,
right?
and it's a great. It's again, it shows the choices that are being made. It's not like it feels like with Y. It's like we start the show with the apocalypse. Why? Because we have to start the show with the apocalypse. This is like we'll start the show. We'll start the show with this guy. Like there's going to be nothing fantastical about this show for 45 minutes. We're just going to watch this jerk his family around and steal money from his mom and waste it on gambling.
Gamble. Yeah.
But then it's the subtle things they do to humanize these characters, to show that, maybe, they have good hearts, but life happens and it forces you to do shitty things sometimes.
Yeah.
Like even the guy whose mom sells fish at the market, and he's done some really shitty things as well. But then of course, he takes the last dollars he has out of his wallet to give it to the guy so he doesn't have to walk miles to get home, and so he can get a bus.
Yeah,
right?
screw his mom. He can give her business away as collateral, but this guy doesn't have to walk home tonight. Meanwhile, mom has nowhere to live tomorrow. But the road to hell or the road to the Squid Games is paved with these good intentions. None of them set out to be this. Like there's also a beautiful hint about the main character's background when he's talking to, I think it's in episode 2. He's talking to his wife about money.
Yeah.
Why he wasn't there that day. Like what began his slow descent into assholeness. And it's like, and it's just a small thing. And you're like, okay, I understand why he's messed up now. But it doesn't feel the need to give a flashback to that or tell us anything else. It's just like it's mentioned in an argument and it's like, the show's smart. The show's cool. I don't know what's going on at any moment. I thought we'd be straight back into like when they choose to leave the game at the end of the first episode. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No, trust me, that happens, right? And I'm like, nah, no fucking way this guy's gonna click red. He's gonna go green. He was too happy throughout the game. And
the old man.
It happens, and the old man. And then I was just like, wait, what? They just got here.
Yeah. Is that it? Is there only? Hang on. Is there only 2 episodes?
What happens in the second one?
Yeah.
It's very smart writing, and I have to say it's been a long time since I say it's been a long time, but Korean shows keep doing this to me. They always get me guessing.
Yeah.
I am genuinely excited when I'm watching a Korean show because I don't know how it's going to play out, and it's not because they're straying from the Western idea of a 3-act structure.
No.
Like they're not using Japanese storytelling techniques. No. They're still using a 3-act structure, but I think they're just doing interesting things to keep surprising us.
I think they're doing it better because they don't have and it's what we were talking about earlier with Why the Last Man. There's this pressure. There's the network pressure. There's pressure of other executive producers. There's the pressure of other shows. You have to follow it even when you're breaking new ground. You're still following the same tempo.
It's the dumbass notes, right? It's the notes from people who don't know. It's like, well, I don't like this. Why don't you like it? I just don't like it. Put a dog in it.
I don't like. Yeah.
Put a dog in the third act. What's the John Peters thing? I want Superman fight a punch a polar bear, or fight a giant spider. I think he also there was a polar bear thing, but I think the third act was fight a spider. Yeah. And it's like, why? It's like, because I want it. And it's like, because I'm used to getting my way and that's the way it is. As opposed to having an actual conversation about, well, I think it would bring out this more. I think it would really bring out Superman's connection to humanity if he
and his
fought,
fear of spiders.
And his fear of spiders if he fought a giant spider. And that's a conversation you can have as opposed to a note where it is like, put the spider stays in the movie, kid.
But also, you go back to just what you were saying, Ian, about how everything in the show, it feels kind of familiar, but you can't place it. And I think that's amazing because it's borrowing these ideas, but yet it's presenting it in a way that has, for guys like us who watch a lot of this shit and read a lot of comics and all that stuff, we're still finding it difficult to place it. And I think that's because it's doing new things.
Yeah. It has a prisoner vibe as well with the look of the game.
Yeah.
It's something as well. The look of the hench people who run the game is amazing. Although it is actually, isn't that the 1980s Electronic Arts logo?
I was gonna say it's the PlayStation thing, right?
No, it's missing the X.
It's missing the X.
But I think the old
Yeah,
Electronic
for
Arts,
now.
the old Electronic Arts owner was that.
the guys in the costume, right? They're not talking, right? That's a giant speaker they have on their face, right?
I don't know. It looks like that.
Oh,
Looks
okay.
like,
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Is Kendo Korean or is it Japanese?
Kendo is Japanese.
Japanese.
But unless they've got their own version, I don't know.
There is. What
Yeah.
was the fighting style that Appa did in Kim's Convenience?
Oh, I can't remember now. No, but just going back.
Dun, dun,
Oh, there we
dun.
go. Electronic Arts, nice.
All right.
It's the same logo.
But just going back to what we were saying earlier, just about using the familiar and doing it in new ways. Also, unlike Y, which is also a high concept show, this is a show that's still rooted in character as opposed to concept.
Yeah.
So the concept's cool, and we all know the concept's cool, and it's fun, but it's anchored in 5 people essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm waiting for episode 3 and I want to watch more is because I want to find out what happens to the gangster and the Indian dude.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I really enjoying the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's
This is how you do it.
Yeah, it is. And again, it's breaking the rules by like, you could have these 5 characters introduced in their life and it's a 3-minute section each and then that's the show and then you're into it. Like it's breaking those rules, but it's still making sure that every section is up to par. Like everything is there for a purpose. Even the great fucking freak out scene he has on the UFO hopper area. It's just goofy and fun, but it tells you so much about this character that he's a jerk, but no one's all bad. And they do that a lot through it. All these people are just self-delusional. There's also that Simpsons house they go through to get to the arena is amazing.
Fantastic.
I don't know what it is, why it's there. I hope to see it again. But it's like, what? It just gives you an extra
Waiting
layer.
for the stairs to move. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like,
It would suck if they built that just for that one shot.
oh yeah, but it just looks weird, and there's questions
Yeah.
about who's running this and whatever, and who all those white guys are who are in the credits, but not in this episode. I think they're in the trailer. What's going on with the masks? Because Train to Busan, Gong Yu, that's not Gong Yu running the thing.
No, he shows up as the recruiter, but I don't know
Yeah.
if he's the guy behind the mask as well.
Yeah. So
I mean, there's a lot of questions
yeah, there's a lot of
just
questions.
still to be answered and to be asked, and I think that's sort of really what these 2 episodes did very well. In that
Yeah.
They give you enough to ask to keep you invested and interested, but while at the same time there are more questions here that you haven't even thought to ask, and that's sort of beautiful world building.
I wanna watch more, but also I love the fact that it's kids games.
Yeah.
Like, I
Well,
love
as far
the
as we
fact
know,
that
we've only seen one.
Right. Okay, but I think in the synopsis they say compete in children's games.
It's basically Wipeout.
Kind of, right?
Wipeout,
it's just
where-
the least complicated games
Yeah.
that will kill you.
Yeah.
That's just got dire consequences. Yeah.
That moment where that guy catches that guy falling.
Ooh.
Beautiful.
Great tension.
Oh.
That's again. This
Yeah.
is again next week. I'm reviewing Lullabies next week because this week alone this has been too much. Like I got stressed when Yorick went in the water. Don't go into flood water. I got stressed every 5 minutes into the night, and this I'm like,
And
oh,
and that's a good point you brought up, Ian. In that when Yorick goes into the water, no payoff.
yeah.
Nothing happens other than
Yeah.
he gets wet and it takes him to the laundromat.
I've told you of the classic. I need to dig it up and write something about it. There's a classic episode of Sylvester McCoy, Doctor Who, where because the series it was one story told over multiple episodes, and they have to end on cliffhangers. And at one point, he lowers himself into a pit using his question mark handled umbrella to look at something or something like that. And then that's just the end of the episode. Him dangling, going, "Oh no, what have I done?" Like it's not like he fell. He did this to himself, right? It's like. There's no tension there if you get yourself into your own stupid scrape, right? If you there's someone falls badly in Why the Last Man as well, and I was like, oh, you moron! Like I wasn't empathetic towards the child who just broke their leg. I was
Meanwhile,
like,
in this one, they play out the game. Like in an extended fashion.
oh yeah, well
and
you have to show the
it
game.
should no, but also it should be boring, but it isn't.
Yeah.
Because it's repetitive, but at the same time, there's just enough going on in every iteration of it.
But that's again
that
because
you're like, "Ugh."
it's character and drama through
Yeah.
action. It's character through action, right? Like
Yeah.
we don't really get to know the Indian guy until that scene,
Yeah.
Correct.
right? And that's where you introduce him. And the old guy's face throughout is just
Gold.
gold joy.
And it's that thing of we're talking about it as if we know these guys already. We've only seen 2 episodes.
Yeah.
That challenge is the first one in, and we're already completely invested in these characters, you know.
Yeah.
And because of that challenge, the challenge isn't a gimmick. The challenge that they had to go through in episode 1 is there so that we get to know these characters.
Yeah.
It's not just a stumbling block.
By
It's
the
a
end of this,
development.
it's not going to be the story of the games. It's going to be the story of the people, right? That's what it
Yeah.
feels
Absolutely.
like because it
That's
already
where they want to get. Because that's where they want to go. That's every good writing is that.
it already
you know?
it already feels like that. It's not like I've got this great idea about a game where people get killed. It's like I've got this idea about characters and some things happen to them.
Yeah.
What are the
Yeah.
things?
Yeah.
I'll wait till you hear about the things. I didn't know what to write for the things, so I came up with this wacky idea and it might just work and make it stand out from something. As opposed
Yeah.
to in Yorick, it's like it's just events are happening.
And you know
Meanwhile,
what?
these
Like,
guys are poor and desperate, and that is the core
yeah.
of their story,
and
right?
It sort of draws me back to having accidentally watched 5 episodes of the Purge TV show. Completely fucking pointless. You know, it's that they
Accidentally.
yeah, because my wife.
He
was
tripped
watching
and he broke his leg and he couldn't turn the remote off.
Oh no! I pressed play. But it's this thing of like we know what the Purge is. It's one night, all crime is game. But then it's you're following this guy who's trying to do a thing, and then you're following that guy who's trying to do. You're losing the moment. There's no drive in the story. Whereas here, like you said, Ian, the challenges are for character as opposed to the other one. Oh, here's a thing that's happening. Here are all the characters in that thing that have got nothing to do with anything. It just feels a wasted opportunity.
It is. I think
this one does it well.
I think it is the Hunger Games and the Maze Runner. It's like that they brought the characters through that, right? I think the Hunger Games. When I think about the Hunger Games, I'm thinking mostly of this, but actually, the books and things they get to know each other through the games. What is it? Ro? Who's the kid who dies? Spoilers for the Hunger Games. There's like it's a big Rue. Yeah, there's a big character about Rue, but they get to know each other. You get to know each other through the games, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean, watch Squid Game. It
Awful,
drops on Netflix.
awful title, and that
Awful title.
the kids' game that it's based upon is the most complicated.
I could not follow that shit. I was going to ask.
I rewound and then I played it back again to try and figure out how you play that fucking game.
Kids would
like-
never. I mean, I thought it was going to be okay.
Is it a real Korean game?
No idea. I mean, considering
look it up.
and considering we can't even get a press release with the goddamn characters' names, finding that out was going to be hard. But I thought it was they're playing Bulldog Charge or something. You know, Bulldog Charge, right?
Yeah.
You all played that one,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I don't know that one.
It's just basically one person, the Bulldog. Everyone runs past them. He touches them. They join his team. It's Aliens versus. Yeah, it's Aliens Isolation. Aliens game where the alien infects. They have it in all the first-person shooter games these days. One person, you kill one person, they join your team. You have to take out the survivors.
Right. Got it. Okay.
But it looks like that, and then you're like, wait, you gotta move here, and you can only step outside here. But if you make it through the middle, you can use both feet, but you gotta hop on one leg only. And then if you go around here and you divide by 72.
And then there's a second phase. It just feels like this feels like
Feels Korean.
Advanced mathematics here. Come on.
But no, I mean, highly recommended. And also, I have to say, there are still a lot of people out there who are incredibly sniffy about K-dramas and Korean shows. And I think they are that way because a lot of it is still promoted by way of glamour shots of the hot people in the shows. Meanwhile, actually, the vast majority of K-dramas have incredibly complex narratives and are very well written.
And look, I'm one of those guys, and I think the problem is I still get the press releases. I still get the Korean shows that everybody wants to talk about is the love story ones.
Right.
I want to watch the Squid Game stuff.
But the thing is, even the love story ones are incredibly complex. They're not just a will they, won't they that stretched out for 16 episodes.
He's from a parallel universe. He's a prince. He's a king.
Yeah, it's all kinds of crazy shit.
But I mean,
horse,
I think it's still on. I think I watched it. I must have watched it on Netflix. I think the first one I started off at the beginning of the pandemic was Vagabond, which is basically a James
24.
Bond series, a 24 thing, and it was great. I mean, Davina's, I think she's watching Hometown Cha 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 right now, so I'm going to get a report on that and see if it's for what.
Yeah,
Because
Oh yeah, let me know what that's like. It's been trending for ages.
it's been trending for ages, and this is also the problem. For anyone, hang on. For those of you still watching, there are still people watching. This is the problem. We don't know when things are going to land, and also we get an awful lot of press releases of like, here's the newest K-drama or Asian hit on HBO Originals or on Quiyi or on something else. It's like, I've just watched 6 hours. I just watched 3 hours of Into the Night back to back, and then watched 3 hours of Yorick. I can't handle anything else for a while, And also we don't even know what's coming down the pipe. So trying to figure out which and also Korean dramas are notoriously long.
They are. And to be fair, Squid Game is not as long as your average Korean drama. The Netflix stuff tends to be an hour and below.
Yeah, the stuff that's on Korean TV is usually an hour and a bit, whereas the Netflix stuff is 54 minutes so far.
Yeah. The stuff on Korean TV can go up to an hour 20.
Yeah.
So
that's nuts.
You've got to have the time to invest.
There's nothing else on, or what? How does that work?
How do they schedule that?
Lots of advertising dollars, my friend, and lots of product placement.
Yeah, but even in the US, episodes, they say it's 9 or 45 minutes when you take out the ads back then. Family Guy is basically 5 minutes long when you take out all the ads to stretch to half an hour.
I think it's because of just the kind of content and format they were used to. It's the same reason why all Tamil movies are 3.5 hours. It's because there is this idea in India that if you've bought a fucking ticket, you're giving me my money's worth. Yeah. And so you're getting this full entertainment with an intermission in the middle. Yeah. So you can go out and buy more food, and it's a whole thing, right? Yeah. And so I think that's why even watching the Hindi and Tamil stuff on Netflix is great, because it's like 90 minutes. And I'm like, yay, I'm done with this in no time. But don't be sniffy. Check out Squid Game. I think because you are the same audience that loves the Hunger Games and Fall Guys and all of these other shows that you're gonna enjoy. It's a very similar style of content thematically. So you're gonna enjoy this anyway. You just have to read some subtitles.
Did you guys finish Alice in Borderland?
I finished Alice in Borderland. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
No, it was fun. Yeah,
it was good.
Really good. Yeah.
So check it out. I mean, actually, you're right. If you like anime and you like Japanese stuff, this is a no-brainer too.
Yeah, but it's not too fantastical if you want to keep it grounded. Like they are.
Yeah.
There's nothing magical or out of the ordinary too much. It's just they have a really good, these evil villains have the best what do you call them? Uniform designer.
Costume designers.
Yeah. No.
Even in the poster, even in the poster, the piggy, the goddamn piggy, to look how much money you could be losing if you left.
It's a piggy bank. Yeah.
But not just that, Ian. You say you keep it grounded because there are rich people on an island somewhere doing this for real. So.
Oh yeah. International waters, baby.
Squid Game on Netflix. Check it out. Watch all the stuff we've spoken about today, good and bad. Let us know what you think. You know how to get in touch. Goggler MY is our social media feeds. Podcast at goggler.my is our email address.
What are we doing with the Pope?
Hey, Frank's a dude. We're okay with Frank.
I didn't get the email.
Oh.
Podcast at goggler.my is our email address, and also 012-524-5208.
Check out our new feature, We Rate Popes. Top 10 Popes.
popes.com. I was just going to say, before we wrap, I got this WhatsApp message from an old high school friend of mine who lives in Singapore right now, and he just goes, I assume you've seen Dune already. What's the verdict? Because Dune actually dropped in Singapore today.
Okay, so you're a Dune guy.
I'm just blocking him on WhatsApp right now.
June. I go June.
You go June with a J?
J, yeah.
Little J?
Yeah, J. June.
Because we ask the important questions on social media.
Yeah, what's yours, Bahir?
I said I don't know. I go back and forth because as soon as Uma asked that question,
fucked with your brain, didn't it?
Yeah.
Dune.
Dune.
I think I lean Dune.
Dune.
Yeah. Dune.
To be honest,
anyway,
I call it Arrakis.
Dune? I think I go Dune.
Dune's one of those novels. Dune's one of those novels that's really annoying because when you're reading it as a kid, you have no idea how to pronounce these words, and you don't know if you're saying them right. So you are just like
Fremen. The Padishah Emperor Shaddam the Fourth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thwiffer.
Thwiffer?
Thwiffer.
Yeah.
Thwiffer. Fetch me the Thwiffer.
Yeah, this week I've got two sort of, words stuck in my head. One is the Dune thing. The other one is the way they pronounce Washington in the Heights, which is also
Washington?
just Washington. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Washington.
Yeah, because is that Latin,
Got a bit of an
Caribbean,
accent, like a Latin Cuban accent to it, right?
Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's been that thing. Now.
All right.
Anyway.
Thank you so much for listening. This has been the Goggler Podcast. Dude.